video, I want to go over how to do a really good bird dog. So a bird dog exercise, sometimes also called a quadruped, is where you're extending one arm and one leg. Sometimes we'll add movement to it. If you do yoga, sometimes this is called a spinal balance. And this exercise is just amazing for back rehab, hip rehab, core strengthening, core stability. There is a lot going on with this exercise, but a lot of times people, they really rush through it and they don't work the exercise and get everything that you can out of it. So I want to really break this down for you. So a couple things you want to be sure of is that your shoulders are over your wrists. People tend to be out here. So make sure those are lined up. Fingers nice and wide and a little bend in those elbows, meaning they're not locked out, okay? So a little bend in your elbows. And our knees are right under our hips. A lot of times people put their knees back here, okay? And it's just because you're not aware. So now that you know, now you can just make sure that everything's where it's supposed to be. And then we're gonna kind of keep an eye on the end of the mat so that my head is not down, my head and neck is neutral. And then from this position, I'm going to go ahead and get the hair out of my mouth and extend one leg out behind. So my toe is actually still touching the ground. From this position, before I do anything, I'm gonna check. All right, how's everything looking? Is everything level? Is my waistband level? Are my shoulders still level? And if they're not, I'm gonna make that adjustment. So sometimes this will happen and a hip will kind of come down. So we wanna keep those hips level. All right, so if I think everything's level, now I'm gonna go ahead and lift that leg up. It doesn't matter how high I lift that leg, the goal is to keep the waistband level. So I really don't care how high that leg is. I care that the hips are level. So if you're only lifting that toe off the ground a little bit, perfect, I don't care. This has to stay level because as soon as that toe leaves the ground, you've gone from 4 pillars of support to 3, and that core has to kick in and stop your hips from rotating. So if we can hold this leg up and still feel stable, still keeping our hips and our shoulders level, then we're gonna go ahead and kind of walk these fingers out of the opposite arm. And I'm thinking about my shoulders here. I don't want the shoulder coming up. I don't want to be rotating. Imagine if I put a couple drops of water right between those shoulders, that water isn't gonna roll to one side of my back. So I'm walking these fingertips out, and maybe I get to here and I start to feel a little rotation, then that's all as far as I'm gonna go. If I'm feeling pretty good here, then maybe I lift that arm up. And I've gone from 4 pillars of support to 2. And now I'm just gonna hold this right here. And then if I'm feeling pretty good, maybe I take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And then we're slowly gonna bring that arm and leg back in. So that is a whole different experience than just lifting an arm out. And a totally different experience than this. So those exercises may have their place. I particularly like this. I think this feels great because you're getting this curve in your back and then extending it out. So it's great. It's movement in those vertebrae. But if we're trying to do the bird dog as an exercise for core stability, then we want to slow it down. Not worry about how high an arm is, how high a leg is, but slow it down, work the exercise, feel that amazing core, and feel how all these muscles in your trunk can do so much work if we slow down and work the exercise. So I hope you found this helpful.